The moment I saw the flashing lights in my rearview mirror, I knew everything was about to unravel. I had just left the apartment of someone I shouldn't have been with. My breath still smelled like regret. The bottle of bourbon half hidden in my gym bag was a poor disguise. And I knew the cop approaching my window wouldn't be fooled. But what crushed me wasn't the legal trouble or the shame, it was the voice in my head, whispering, "You're too far gone." I had grown up in church, knew every hymn by heart. I even played the piano during altar calls in high school. But by my mid-20s, I had quietly walked away, not because I stopped believing in God, but because I believed I had disappointed Him one too many times. I spent the night in jail. No one came, no one called, and I didn't blame them. I laid on the cold bench, staring at the concrete ceiling, reliving every failure, the affair, the lies, the addiction I swore I'd beat. I cried until I couldn't anymore. Then I said something I hadn't said in years. "God, if you still want me, help." It wasn't poetic. It wasn't even full of hope, but it was honest. 2 days later, I was released on bail. The charges were pending. My job was gone, and I had nothing to go back to except a storage unit with a cot and a suitcase full of regrets. I found a Bible in that unit. I'm still not sure how it got there. Maybe my mom slipped it in. Years ago when I first moved out, I opened it out of boredom, then desperation, then hunger. That's when I read it. Therefore, there is now no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus. Romans 8:1. I must have read it 50 times. No condemnation. For me, I thought about everything I had done, everything I had broken, everyone I had hurt. I deserved judgment. I deserved rejection. But this verse said something wild, that in Christ, I was not condemned. I wept, not out of fear this time, but out of the terrifying beauty of grace. I started going to a nearby church, sat in the back row, head down. The pastor spoke on Romans for weeks. It felt like every sermon was a love letter addressed to my scars. I confessed everything to my parents, to my ex, to my brother, whom I hadn't spoken to in 3 years. Some doors stayed closed, but some swung open with tears and hugs. I started going to recovery meetings, found a mentor, found brothers in Christ who didn't flinch when I told the ugly parts. One Sunday, the pastor asked if anyone wanted to be baptized. I stood. My heart pounded, not out of fear, but because I knew I was walking from condemnation into freedom. That day, as I came out of the water, I didn't feel magical. I didn't see lights. But I heard something deep inside so clear it shook me. You are mine. That one verse, Romans 8:1, was the rope God threw into my pit. And I've been climbing ever since, not by my strength, but by His love. Today, I lead a small group for people in recovery. I share my story openly, not to glorify the fall, but to magnify the grace that caught me. There's a picture on my wall now. It's a print of Romans 8:1, framed above a key. The key to that storage unit. The place where I thought my story ended. It didn't. It just began. Share and comment this if you believe God still writes the best stories.